Welcome to Burning Metal Shooting the Breeze, episode 10. In this episode, I'm joined by Carl King of Two Tales of Woe, Withered Fist, and of course the All Ireland Metal Project. How are things, man?
All good. Good to see you, bro.
Cheers for coming on, man. It's episode 10 now, so I said I'd have a bit of a King Woe's Court versus
Oh
Shooting the
yeah.
Breeze, you know?
A collaboration, we'll say. That's what we'll
Exactly.
think. That seems to be the flavor of the month at the moment, like so.
Precisely. A bit like the whole Damnation versus Bloodstock podcast. Did you ever watch any of
Yes.
those?
No, are they any good, are they?
Oh, they're very good. They're very good. Your man, what's his name? Jesus, I can't think of his name. A Damnation. He's fucking hard to understand because he's a real thick Scottish accent, but
All right.
he's a good interviewer, and
I'll
Vicky
check
has
them out.
been very candid with him throughout it. So it was kind of a
Lovely.
great way for people like that were asking all these questions. Bloodstock, why aren't you saying anything? And they're like, we can't,
Yeah.
we can't do anything. Like
They always like keeping their cards very, very close to the chest as much as they can, right up until they know they have to say something. Then they've always been like that.
yeah, but you can kind of understand, like in the lava, this climate now that we were just coming out of, like there was no way
Mm.
they. But fair play that they held on and held on and held on, and it's paid off. They're going ahead, and I'm going to go myself, and I can't fucking wait, man, to see live bands again.
Class. Who you hoping to see outside the Urge bands, of course?
Oh, there's so many great bands. Devin Townsend by request, that's going to be class.
Yeah.
Paradise Lost are playing Draconian Times in full.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
darling.
got to be fucking sweet, man. Of course, there's Conan, load of great English bands. Evil
Mm.
Scarecrow, Raging Speedhorn, Onslaught. Jesus, there's an awful lot of great English
Good
bands on
bands.
that lineup, man.
If ever the year was to get the English bands back on it in force, this was the year, I think. If they were going to get to go ahead
Mm.
with it, like Evil Scarecrow are a great festival band, isn't they?
Oh, they're
Great
fantastic.
break.
Just getting everyone doing the crab walk and everything, and jumping and Ready Player One type shit, and jumping
Yeah,
fist
did
and
a did a fun like
yeah. If you don't smile during the Evil Scarecrow, you're probably dead inside, like
yeah yeah. I enjoyed them on this, and they wouldn't be my cup of tea at all. But I still enjoyed the show. I mean, when I watched them at Bloodstock.
Yeah, I think I've listened to their stuff maybe 4 or 5 times here on my own, just to kind of get to know them from when they were playing
Yeah,
again. Like, but they're just they're a spectacle. They're a live act.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like if the reason you go to a circus is to be entertained, and Jesus, like they entertain.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They keep your mind active for the half hour or hour, whenever, how long they're on for.
Yeah, they have
They're
a
good at
headline
that.
slot at this time, so it's in the tent. So I don't know.
Lovely.
I don't know how that's going to translate. They're normally out open air, but
Open
sure.
air. Yeah, but sure, I'm sure they'll come up with something. Bands like that normally will have a creative juice for stuff like that, and they'll be like, right, we're in a tent. What can we do? And they'll probably come up with some sort of uh I don't know, scarecrow themed circus act or something. You
Mhm.
never know.
Yeah, I was thinking about things they could do, but then you take health and safety into consideration. You're like, no, they won't be able to do that.
Mm, that's true.
There'll be no fucking flying around on strings or anything out of a tent.
Or true of cannibal.
Exactly. But of course, we say about the Irish bands, we'll give them all a shout out. Of course, you've got Therapy, Elder Druid, The Crawling, Baylor. Fuck, who else
Grey
is on?
Stag.
Grey Stagger on shit. Yeah, who else? Jesus.
Um, I can't
Oh,
remember.
word look
Oh,
awful.
Word Stop Born. Word Stop
Where's
Born.
the burn? Where's the burn? Jesus.
Sorry, Ronnie.
Yeah, we would have looked like awful dickheads if we didn't remember the
Oh,
bands.
I think that's the mall, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Grey Stag
Yeah.
were the metal to the masses,
Yeah,
and so were Elder Druid in the north.
that's right.
I
Yeah.
think because of Overdrive and our sign of Words of Burner signed to Overdrive's management company, they obviously got on that way because they're tight, like
Mm,
and of course Therapy and would have been on Merit.
of course, absolutely.
Baylor and the Crawling were on the second Sophie Lancaster bill for 2020, so they're carried over as well.
Which is cool, actually.
It's going to be great for the Crawling because they're playing on the Thursday night, so you know
They'll
yourself
have
from being there. Like there's only
they'll have
usually
everyone.
one stage, like.
Yeah, and they've some fantastic songs as well, and they're great live. So, I mean, anyone that's not seen them before, they'll be in for a treat.
Mm.
You know.
I
Absolutely.
personally haven't seen them myself, so I'm really looking forward to it.
They put on a good live show now in terms of intensity and performance. Like it's really good.
Yeah, they were playing at Bloodstock a few years ago, and the new Blade, new Blood stage. But unfortunately, they clashed with somebody. I can't remember who it was, but it was one of those bands, one of those bucket list bands that you're like, I might never get the opportunity again.
Yeah, happens like that sometimes, and you have to make a decision.
Yeah, it was the same with This Place Hell. Like when they played, there was the fucking your old mate Kirk from Down. It was with not from Down and
Kingdom of Sorrow, was he?
no, it was technically it was, but it wasn't. It was Jasta and Friends.
Oh yeah.
So there was the likes of him. He was playing the Get Done All I Had I Gave from Crowbar. Your man from Killswitch Engage at one point, Howard Jones, he was there as well.
Cool.
So it was just one of those one-off moments that you're not going to get again. Like
you'd never know who was going to come out, kind of thing.
Exactly. It was.
That's like when I went to see. I went to Ozfest in 2001 in Milton Keynes, and Black Sabbath, the proper lineup were playing. But when Soulfly were doing their show, their set, if they had brought out that, what was the name of that album, Terrorist or something, was it? Where they had all the collaborations, and Corey Taylor came out for a song, and fucking Tom Araya and Slayer weren't even on the bill, and I would nearly wet myself. Yeah, that's fucking kill.
Yeah, there's been like I've had a moment like that myself back in the day when the Deftones were playing at Download, and Max Cavalier was there, and they came out and collaborated for the song "Off Around the Fur." I can't remember the name of it now, but the coolest one I actually ever seen at a festival was as Korn were supposed to be playing, and Jonathan Davis got really, really ill, and they had to they were like, well, we've got two choices: cancel this set or get in backup vocals.
Yeah,
and all the people just learned the songs that day, and there was like Benji from Skindred done a song, Corey Taylor done Freak on a Leash, Matt Heafy from Trivium done a song, and a bunch of others. Like it was just, there was probably mistakes in the song, but nobody cared because it was just
it was exactly on the fly. And I mean, it's like when Metallica had when Lars Ulrich was sick, and Lombardo and Joey Jordison and all played, and something like that is a cool spectacle to experience. Like, so yeah, people aren't gonna say, oh, that was shit or whatever. No, they're like, yeah, fair play to them. They kept going, and they did what they had to do, and they made something good out of it.
There might be some lad somewhere in a Korn t-shirt with an unhappy look on his face, but everyone else was all right with it.
Yeah, people who maybe aren't diehard Korn fans will be like, well, actually, that's something different. That's cool. Like,
I'd seen Korn so many times at that point that I wasn't even really that awful bothered about seeing them again near that, because I'd seen them maybe 10 times at that point. So
wow,
it's just like
they'd be one of your favorite bands, would they?
They would have been. Now I haven't listened to them, I was a big when the original Korn fan came out. I ordered it on CD from the UK, so I heard about it before. The album was actually out in America in '94 and didn't get a release in Europe until '95.
That's right. I got it when it came out, believe it or not.
Yeah, so the same as
it's a brilliant album. I do love the first album. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was kind of the fanboy in me was still there, and for after the first few times, it was great, but after a while, it's just like any band, Even Metallica now, I've seen them so many times that even I'd go and see them. I'd go and see them now for obvious reasons, but generally speaking, now I wouldn't.
I have to be honest with you. There's one regret I made. Like Slayer and my band, as you know, and I think when they played in the Academy, I didn't go. I was like, no, if they're not playing with Dave Lombardo, I'm not going. And I fucking raised him because there's videos on YouTube of it, and I was like, what I was saying to my minister was like, what were we thinking not going to see them in such a small fucking venue? And I said, I'm never not going to see them again. And then I think I saw them 2 or 3 times after that, because I think they played Bloodstock the same year we did, and then a couple of times here then. But yeah, that was a big mistake to make, wasn't it? Jesus.
Yeah, but we've all got regrets when we look back, especially when it comes to gigs. There's always one where you're like, I'll go next time, and there is no next time. Sure. Well, anyways, we'll move on from this anyway to you. Yeah, you're well known with Two Tales of Woe, but you were in other bands before that. I don't really know anything prior to Two Tales of Woe.
Yeah, prior to Two Tales of Woe, I was in a band called Chosen, and they subsequently, when I left and when Lara left them as well, we started up Two Tales of Woe then, But when we left, well, when we got fired, they went off and did a tour in Canada with a vocalist that they picked up over there, and they ended up killing each other. So like they didn't last that long after I left. I like saying I left, but
Mm.
but again, there's no real feeling now. Now there's not, but like it wasn't a great break. It wasn't a clean break at that stage. But it's like I say, with time and an age, things are you put things to the past. And anyways, in my opinion, I moved on to better things for me with Two Tails as well.
Mm.
So it's all good, But I brought out I released 3 EPs with them. Fragment piece 1, 2, and 3. And then the lads brought an album out as a 2-piece, would you believe? There's only 2 of them left, and they brought out an album. I can't remember the name of it for the love of me, but it's out there. It's actually quite good. It's a lot heavier than what I would have done with them, but it's still good, And then before that, then I was in my first band called Atomic Drop, which was obviously the name comes from a wrestling move, but very, very almost like loose kind of Tool-esque stuff. Very basic, if you know what I mean, and not like Lateralis and all that kind of stuff. Like the kind of earlier Tool stuff was because the guitarist was a huge Tool and Nirvana fan. And at that stage, I wouldn't have really been into either of those bands, but we just all wanted to play in a band. And I mean, Jesus, I started late at the game. I started when I was like 18 or something, 17, 18. But I didn't have any equipment. I bought a little crappy microphone and I had a stereo, and I put the microphone into the headphone jack, and that's what I used for the microphone until we start going to rehearsal studios then. But I haven't been in absolutely loads of bands, but I've tried to get a couple of projects going here and there, and more often than not, they don't happen, or now in the time since I've done a couple of performances. I did a couple of chants on the Celtigor album, Nine Waves from the Shore. And I did a song with a band called Pineal Gland.
Oh, I remember that. That was a great album.
Yeah. So I did I'd like a bit of an ending on one of those tracks. It was cool. I love working with other people outside of my bubble, just to kind of push myself or just to give something different, because nowadays I am known as a sludge and doom kind of fella, but I love singing in general, so I can kind of do anything, within my range, I can do anything really. So
I'm surprised you haven't done anything with the young lad, what's Jason from Creep, to be honest.
Oh, well, we have something coming up.
All right.
And plus, he's on one of the tracks with me on Shirey.
Oh, very good.
The 2 people, I have to be honest, on the last couple of years, I've become really good friends with Jay and Dara from Horrenda. And the 2 of them are super, super guys, fantastic musicians, fantastic brains for what they're doing. And I'm working with both of them at one. Like that's what I'm saying. After Ashuri, there's gonna be so many collaborations that I have lined up. So I'm finally getting to do what I wanted to do, which is like that. I do love working with my core band, of course, but I love to be able to go out and try new things and maybe bring a little bit of a different flavor with my vocal on someone else's music,
Yes, that's one of the great things about the whole All Ireland Metal project. I think it's absolutely amazing that it's happening. To be honest with you, it's going to be bigger than everyone, really, isn't it? It's just going to be that moment.
It's down to you.
Huh?
It's all down to you. Don't forget.
It's not really. It's down to Dara, but to be honest, man, I was just in a good mindset that day. I'm a big Leeds fan, as you know, and that day we more or less mathematically guaranteed survival, and I was just fucking yes. Yeah. And I was drinking away, and I was happy out, and going to watch Match of the Day again, just to watch it again. Just like the next thing, the idea came into my head, and I just let's see what happens, fire it out there. And like Dara did message me about it, but to be honest with you, man, I'm a carer. Like, and my mother
Yeah,
unfortunately had to get her fucking fifth hip replacement this January,
yeah. Well,
so she's just coming right now. So
good.
even
Well, that's good.
it's great. Like, that's fantastic. But
Yeah,
I've never in any way have anything to do with it really, because I've just had too much going on. You know.
understandable. But the great thing is, like, I mean, me and myself and Dara had discussed about trying to get you on board. Because the way I look at it is, like, it's, as you know, the name is Ashuri, which just means resurrection. And I came up with that because I wanted to resurrect the scene, because the scene was decimated with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, if anyone is interested, there's no exclusion in this. There's inclusion, and I think that's, yourself. That's one thing that certain parts of the Irish metal scene do. They exclude people, but the majority of us include people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the proof of the pudding now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm even going to be working with Tomas, Tomas Hines.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm gonna be working on a project with him. Now, who would have ever thought you'd have heard me doing something with a 15-year-old black metal kid? Musically, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to
Give a
cover
minute,
myself
clarify
there.
that.
Yes, we're going to be working on a musical project together.
Yeah, I know. I'm only messing.
Yeah. But like, that's the great thing about where the Irish metal scene is now. It's there for everybody. It always has been, but just there's people there now who are willing to work together and willing to share. And I mean, I know you had ups and downs in the past, but I thought it was fucking ridiculous, because all you were trying to do was make something better. Like, all the naysayers, what were they trying to do? They were doing nothing.
No.
And the thing here, this keyboard thing, that's what they were doing. And I mean, I learned that early on with my band, because like, people will be going to say, oh, you aren't, you're real heavy, but you're doing like singing, we'll say. I'm like, well, that's the way we want to be. So like, if you're not too heavy, you're not good enough. If you're too heavy, you're not. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So I started just not paying attention to people and doing shit for myself.
I think now a lot of mindsets will be different after all this, though, because there's been an awful lot of reflection time for a lot of people. Like, we were, like, it was just. It's like the Dublin scene in particular, like it was just so much going on. It was just like people were spoiled,
Yeah, I know. It's that's I mean, we're very lucky in Dublin in a sense that we have there's an awful lot of fantastic bands, but there's not, like, and it's like the same thing everywhere around the country. There's not enough half decent venues, we'll say. And I've always felt I would love to see more counties with more of a scene. I know that's probably romanticizing, but I would love to see, I don't know, just Offaly with a cool scene where you could say, like, if someone from Offaly could say, right, come on down and you can play, and we know you'll get about 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever, just the case may be. But like, like unfortunately, our metal, as awesome as our metal scene is, and I mean that from north and south, there's still not. It's like, you are going to get the same bands because that's all that's there. And until we start getting more bands from different counties willing to take the step up, that's what's going to happen, So I know there's some amazing bands coming up, and, and you still have some of the old guys doing their thing, So like, I think Irish metal is the healthiest it's been in a long time, even though we've just gone through a pandemic and we're still in one,
But on the other side of that, though, you're like Con and Mark down in Cork, and James up in Belfast, Paranoid Beast and Distortion Project, and then myself and Brendan, we were running gigs in Galway, and we were kind of bit by bit here and there. But I think now, once we come out of this, I think everyone will be kind of like, we're going to come back fire now and get on as much as we can. And
well, I would hope that this will. I don't know if I'll probably be vilified for this. I don't know. I would like to hope that when local bands start gigging again, people will go and see them, because you know yourself, people will go and see a band in the Tree Arena or the, I don't know, somewhere in Cork, whatever, for €100 on a Wednesday night. They'll spend nearly €100 on beer and transport or whatever. Whereas they can go to a gig in Fred's or Fibbers for three local bands for a fiver. Just for example, on a Saturday night where they're going to be out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would like to see more of that happening. Again, that's just, and it's not even for me, it's for the future. It's for the bands that are coming up where they can say, well, actually, yeah, there will be a crowd there tonight. They will actually appreciate what we're doing, you know? So, as like I say, that's not a knock on anybody. That's just what I would like to see happen from this, you know?
Because it's very fair to say that the local band scene was very poorly supported in general, like prior to this. Like, people like the people say about the scene we have is so good. It is a great scene, but it's very kind of, it's a circle, you know.
Yeah.
And outside the circle, a lot of people. I wouldn't go as far as to say they don't care. That's not fair to say that, but
No.
they don't really. To be honest, they're going to go up to Dublin and watch Slayer or Mastodon or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're just going to have the same 5 CDs in their car, and they're just going to be listening to the Black Album in 20 years' time, you know. And
yeah, I mean,
especially when people get older, when they're young, they're all about new things, but then the familiarity kicks in with age. Like I know we're not examples of that, but a lot of people are still listening to that same fucking CD for the last 15 years in the car, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was only listening to. Do you know who I like? Since I started kind of doing the podcast, I really did engulf myself in Irish metal again, and I love it. You know, I mean, Organ Blender. You know Organ Blender?
Oh yeah, they're very good. They send you on the new stuff actually.
Yeah, it's fucking savage. Like, it's
fucking bizarre shit, man. I was just listening to it, like,
but it works.
Oh,
it really
yeah, it was
works.
very good, but I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How are you going to play that live?
I don't think they'll even get thinking about that. But if anyone can do it, they'll be able to do it, you know. And but yeah, like, it's just, you get, like you say, it's bizarre, but it works for them. So stuff like that, I'm delighted to be able to discover, you know. And even, I don't know, you know, Hashmaker. Did
yeah,
you?
they're good now.
Yeah, like, they contacted me out of the blue, and I wasn't aware of them at the start, and then of course start checking them out. I was like, yeah, I like this, you know. And there's another one that's up and coming that I know one or two of the lads are in Dirty Casuals and all, but this would suit me more than Dirty Casuals. Not that there's nothing wrong with Dirty Casuals, you know what I mean? It's great. Like this, you see so many bands popping up now that they have a good future, you know what I mean? Absolutely.
And it's a lot easier to reach people as well too now. I know people are critical of social media and all the rest, but if you put in the effort, you know, you can reach people. Like,
yeah, it's tough. You know, like, I mean,
but it was always tough though, man.
Yeah, well, you have to. I remember a few years ago when we were jamming in Volt Studios in Dublin, and most of the big bands were there. We shared a room with Primordial and Melmorda at the time, and Celticor were jamming in the other. There was two buildings, but I was sitting down with Steve, the old singer from Celticor, and he was saying that what he did was he would take 4 or 5 hours out of his day to do all that kind of social media stuff. Now, if you have that kind of time, it pays off because they played most of Europe, you know? So, yeah, you have to have the time and the desire, I think, to do something like that. If you don't, then you kind of, you look for goals that you can achieve within your range. That's the way I would look. Like, I mean, I'm not under no illusion now for my band. Like, yeah, we've had some good times. We've had some great shows. We've played some great stages. And I'm happy with that. I just want to release music now rather than play these gigs or that gig. I want to release music with my own band. I want to collaborate with as many people as I can, because that's what I'm enjoying at the minute, you know.
Very good, but we've kind of strayed away from Two Tales of Woe here now. What the hell? It's a bit like a Ross Noble show on my podcast. It goes around in circles, but it always comes back to the point in the end.
But
like we just said before, like I was actually at the Bloodstock final that in Dublin that you qualified, and I was seeing you again at Bloodstock as well. Like when you're a band, like, you know, it's It's obviously not the pinnacle, but it's still pretty damn good to be able to play at one of the biggest festivals like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I to be honest with you, myself and Calvin didn't get to enjoy. We enjoyed it, but we didn't get to enjoy it as much as the rest of the band because they had us. We were doing press all day, all weekend, and what I mean by that is a couple of the boys were. I was like, right, so are you going to do this? And we're like, oh yeah, yeah, and they go off watching, I don't know, whatever band, or I think I got to see about 5 or 6 bands of the big bands that I wanted to see. There was more, but you know yourself, when you're doing something like that, you have to make it count. You have to do the groundwork. You have to get talking, networking, and all that kind of stuff. And I suppose in that sense, me and Calvin were the obvious ones to do that because we would have been the more outgoing ones of the band, you know. But yeah, it was great to play it, man. And what was great on the Jaeger stage that we played, sound guy was Irish.
All right.
And I said it. We were doing our sound check earlier in the day, and he's like, "Oh, hell yeah, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh, you're Irish, yeah." He goes, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "Let's show the Brits how it's done." And so and he was like, "Yeah, you're dead right," and he gave us a great sound, you know. So I always do stuff like I remember when we played with Corrosion of Conformity in the Academy when we came back after our little hiatus. And of course, we were using the house engineer, and they had their own guy. And I went introduce. If I'm playing something like that, I always introduce myself to the sound people, to just to show them that I'm appreciative of the work they're doing for me and whatever. So I goes up to your man and I'm like, "Hey man, how's it going?" I said, "Is this your setup, your rig?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I goes, "Are you doing the sound for the band?" And he goes, "No," like that, And I goes, "Well, here, let's show the Americans how it's fucking done. Like, give us a good sound." And they'd be like, "What?" And yeah, he gave us a really good sound that night. But it's all about earning or giving respect and earning it back, So yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, it's been touched on a few times, like with John Claude and Fibbers when he's retired now, but
yeah.
If you were on the right side of him, he'd look after you. Like if he didn't like you, he fucking didn't like you.
Oh, I know. Well, we were lucky in that sense, and we were at a stage then where when he saw us, when he saw us coming in, he was like, "My band," and because he would literally have to just, he used to say, "I just need you to do a line check, but I want to hear you play just to see how you sound," like because we would always know, and he would know our setup and all that kind of stuff. So we were like a kind of an easier go for him in that sense, But yeah, Jesus, he was. Oh yeah, if you got on his wrong side, I've one or two of my old bandmates did, and they didn't do it again.
Yeah, you've just if you got the hairdryer treatment off him and you stood there and you took it and you accepted it, that was it. That's all you had to do. If you challenged him at all, that was just like steam coming out of his ears almost.
Sadly missed. He will be sadly missed. We were meant to play. There was going to be a retirement gig from, I think Aaron from what's his name? I think you had him on the show.
Oh, Ren Marabou, Aaron.
Yeah, Ren, right? He was putting the show together, and it was basically a lot of like a bands that John Claude would have wanted, and of course COVID happened, so we couldn't play the fucking gig, and he retired and everything. And so now I'm hoping somewhere down the line we can do that gig for him, because it was going to be a nice little send off,
This would have been packed too as well, without question.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, sure, we won't play the whole lot of it now, but we'll knock on a bit of Two Tales of Woe, and probably haven't heard this one in a while now.
My 3-year-old loves this song.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, he sings it.
You're maybe the next young King Woe coming along, so yeah.
Well, I'm hopeful because my daughter started taking up bass, which was great. Kerry's taking up bass now. I'm always needing a bass player, so.
Exactly. Get an in-house one. Here we go.
That sounds great.
It's been a while since I listened to that myself. Great song, man.
I love it. I do love it. I mean, yeah, okay, there is aspects of it that were kind of a little bit different for us at the time. Like there's a bit of a faster pace to it than what you probably would have been used to hearing. But that was, I mean, at that stage we had just really come back, and Justin, who was also in Acrid Nebula, was their new guitarist. So that was the first kind of thing we had written with him, and so all those elements brought that to the fore, you know, which was, and like I said to you, everything, my vocals tie everything up into 2000 really, and what I mean by that is it's a recognizable voice. That's what I mean. So I think that's what made the song work so well, and it was received great. You know, it really was. Like, but that was the only time we recorded with Justin. He left after Bloodstock, and so did Dave. the bass player. He was our long term. He wasn't our original. Dave wasn't our original bass player, but he was our probably the longest bass player we've had. They both left for like Justin was going to this. He was starting to do a lot of work to and from the States, so he wouldn't have had the time. So we said, right, well, the perfect time for everyone. We had a great time at Bloodstock. Everyone had a great weekend, and it was all good. Do you know what I mean? So it was a nice way to finish up. You know, I mean, Justin's first gig was supporting Corrosion Conformity, and his last gig was at Bloodstock. That's not a bad way to go out. Like,
You're going to be in a band for a short period of time. That's a pretty good way of doing it, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. And I said it to him. I said, you're going to be playing gigs that you probably wouldn't have played before, you know, and you know you'll enjoy them. And like he's older than me, and he's like, "Shut up, you," you know. And of course, he did enjoy them, and I used to I used to slag him on stage then every time we played, just to it was something different to do, you know.
Was that the only recording with Kelvin as well? Was it?
No,
Oh, yeah, it
there.
didn't happen, did it?
Yeah, we have an album that is about 96% complete, and what I mean by that is we had it really done, and Lara, who was in the band at the time, left the band, and there was an issue there at the time. Again, myself and Lara we're all friends again. It's all good, like, you know. But at the time, we weren't able to finish the album because he was still on it and he wouldn't let us. But yeah, it wasn't great at the time. But look, we bought the album mixes, well, the recordings off the studio because it was the sound engineer was leaving it then. So we bought the hard drives and we still have them. And like I say, it's all good with us and Lar now. And we're actually hoping to finish that recording and release it then. So you'll still hear Kelvin, like with the same that lineup that was there at the time. So you'll hear Kelvin and Dave on that. And it's a really good album, like, you know. Like as I was saying to someone else, everyone else is bringing out new music. We're bringing out old music that's never been heard. Like, but it was a great album, and it was a really great time for us. You know, writing wise, you know, it was even more accessible, I think, than Conversation with Death. So I don't know when we're going to get it. We were hoping to get it out this year, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what way things go.
There's no rush, major run, especially now at this point. It's so long, but if you just get it finished and get it out and just say, "Look, here it is," like take it or leave it, you know.
That's all we want. It meant that recording time, those particular bunch of songs, meant something very special to everyone who was in the band at that time. So we owe it to ourselves, and obviously because we owe it to our fans as well, because a lot of people would have heard about the album that never was, you know. So we owe it to ourselves and we owe it to our fans to finish that journey, we'll say, and put a close on that book, and then it's there for everyone, you know. And it's not even a case that I want to make money off it. I want to just bring it out and give it to everybody. That's what I want.
Well, the chances of you making money off it now are the way it's gone
now. I'm not doing this for the money, Phil. I never was.
I think you remember you said something before. I don't know if your view changed it, but going forward with Two Tales of Woe, you probably weren't going to bother with any CD runs anymore if you were going to release anything.
Yeah, I don't know, because, like, I mean, yeah, we were, you know, we did a small release for Bloodwood, and it was well received, and you know, but we're not sure. Next time we might just go digital. I mean, again, it's all about money, you know. I mean, I have a family. Other people in the band have families, and you know, and we're at a stage where we're not doing it to try and get on particular gigs or slots or festivals. We're doing it because we love it. I'm not saying that, you know, everyone loves their music, but we know we know what we are now, you know, and that's what I'm saying. I want to focus more on recording and releasing stuff, you know. So if there was a demand, I think, like, I mean, I think we had more sales digitally than we did uh, physically. Now, I personally still love a physical copy of a CD. Always have. And I mean, like, I mean, we may do something similar to the room we did with Bloodwood,
Hmm.
because it wasn't overly expensive, and it looks well, and it's, and again, I do know there are people who like the physical copies. So we'll see. I mean, of course, I would love to bring our stuff out on vinyl. I don't even have a record player, but it just always looks savage. But it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive unless you're getting payrolled. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's probably what we'll do. We may, the next release, whatever that is, we may bring out a small run,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but in a sense of, if it does well and people want more, then we'll be able to revisit it then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were saying about projects, but you even one project you were in there a few years ago, Withered Fist. That was with an old member of Two Tales of War, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was with Justin who wrote Burning Lands at me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a band, like I said, Acrid Nebula, and they were real kind of stoner doom, similar. No, not that similar to us, but we would have gigged once or twice with them. But we and him always said we wanted to work on something outside of our respective bands, and for years we were talking about a couple of tracks that he had written, and it never came to fruition. And then he said to me then that he had a few tracks, and would I like to listen to them? So I was like, yeah, of course. And I was like, man, I'd love to put something on them. So we went down to his place in Tipperary, myself and Kerry, for the weekend, and we just, like, I had a couple of lyrics. I kind of, and then again, it was a new way for me of writing. Was I wrote on my way down, and I wrote kind of when I was there as well.
Right.
So it was great. 3 tracks, and I love that. I love it so much. I'm so happy with it, because like there's epics, there's epicness in it, there's heaviness in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of singing. It's mainly singing, and I love that. So yeah, I love that album. And again, my kids, they love they love, like, for my son, he's like 3, but he thinks that my main band is Withered Fist. He loves that, like, but it's great.
Man, it's the one thing with kids, there's no filters, do they? It's
No, no.
this is this I prefer this.
Yeah, but it was great to do that. Now I have to say, and I would love to do another one with him, but he's uncontactable at the minute. I don't know what's happening, because I have been asked by many people to do a follow up, and I'm willing to do. I was only saying to Richie there a few weeks ago, I'm willing to do it if he'll answer his phone.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. Like, he might just be like, this whole lockdown thing. It's kind of gone one way or the other. People have either got really productive, or they've just gone completely the
Yeah,
other way. It doesn't seem to be a middle ground, really, does there?
no, no. So maybe somewhere down the line we might see another Withered Fist release, but at the moment you're only getting your one EP.
So look, at even if you only leave it at that, it was a great release, and with all the other things you've got coming up now, so
Yeah, yeah.
it was a moment in time. It was very well received, and
Ah, yeah.
I'm looking
And as
there.
well as that,
Hmm?
sorry, like Kerry would have written some of the lyrics for it as well. So on one of the songs, "This Is My Mountain," she wrote one or two of the little bits on it, and she also wrote, the breakdown on Born Lands, "Love from the Heart" and "Love from a Stone." She put that together as well.
Very
So
good.
yeah, just like the fact that she was interested, and then I was like, well, why don't you try and throw a lyric in there? And so she did. So I kept them.
Exactly. Why not immortalize their little things as they go along?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like
absolutely.
my own little nephew now. Like, he's 4 now. I'm going to look into getting him a drum kit now at some point now in the next year or two, because he's into it. Like, you can tell he's into the drums. Like, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
do
just wait a bit
don't.
longer, because he's at that age now where he jumps from thing to thing to thing to thing.
Yeah,
So,
and
I'll,
if he settles on it, yeah, get it from, yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
What I probably will do first is I have a Pearl Master kit in storage. Like,
Mm.
And if I could find somewhere just for even for a while, just to sit him at it and let him mess
Yeah.
around on that, and then if he takes to it, then we get him the smaller kit that'd suit him better because
Mm.
for a master kit, sure, not a whole
Absolutely.
symbols or anything like.
What about bringing him into maybe a rehearsal studio for an hour or two, somewhere down the line?
Geez, that's a good idea, actually. Yeah,
Yeah. Just bring the way you have to bring your snare. Or, you don't even have to do that now. I think most of them have everything there.
yeah.
I don't know what's one's local to you, but like, something to, it could be a day out for you as well. You
I
know?
could have, sure, I could have a chat with someone maybe down the line, and if they're in
Yeah.
the rehearsal themselves, in and around a day or something, might be
Yeah.
just taking.
Let you bring them in for half an hour or while they're on a
Bring
break
him
or
in for a
something.
few minutes and let him have a tap at this, and I'll bring a few of my
Yeah.
own sticks, like so. And
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
he wouldn't do any damage to the snares or anything, but he's
No.
all. But yeah, that's a good
I'm sure
idea.
you'll get
Consider
someone
that.
that you'll get someone to let you do that. I mean,
Yeah, they live in Kildare, like so. They're next door to Dublin, like so. There's an awful lot of people potentially that I could ask, you know.
absolutely.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
I never thought of that actually, and
There
it
you
might
go
be a
now.
lot easier too, you know, rather than
Yeah,
landing up a big fucking drum kit into their house and
exactly.
trying what we do with it next, like you know.
Yeah,
No, it
there
takes
you
up one
go.
little room, like.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah. Jesus, yeah.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you play drums, yeah?
I used to, yeah. Never played in
Wow.
a band though. There was a few times I got close and we were doing a bit of jamming and stuff, but it never went anywhere, you know.
Yeah. And were you did you ever record that or?
No, no, no. I was, to be honest with you, man, I was just getting good at them before I had the shed at the back had to go because my mother, I told her when I care, I had to build an extension
Yeah.
into the house, and I had a shed there for the drums, and of course that's gone now,
Yeah.
years now at this point. So no, I was in there tapping away, and I was getting lessons and stuff, and just playing along to CDs and stuff. I'd double pedal. I think when the whole thing was together, it was a 16-piece kit.
Nice.
Yeah, I had all the splashes and crashes and chinas, and I had two
Yeah.
snares, two floor toms, four toms. You know, and
Wow.
big Tom Woodlock, a Zora type job. You know,
Well, that's one man who uses every bit of the kit.
and he's a
Jesus.
fucking great drummer, man.
Oh, he's a legend.
And he's on the
He's
All Ireland project as well, too, isn't he?
he's everywhere on
Yeah,
it.
that's good to
He's
hear.
on, yeah, he's absolutely everywhere. And what I love about that is, like, he's willing to help everyone and anyone
Mm.
that needs a drum here or there, or and even like Alan, the bass player,
Mhm.
he mixed our track, the Vermicious track that we're doing, and he actually ended up playing a little bit bass on it as well. So
Oh, very good.
yeah, so uh,
They're
yeah,
sound lads though, Alan and Tom. Like you know, they're just
yeah,
genuine lads. You know.
absolutely, absolutely, and fantastic musicians to boot. Jeez,
Yeah, and of course, with Alan having experience working with DME on sound and everything, like he's handy enough. Like,
yeah. Well, that was another one for the second Corrosion of Conformity gig in the Tivoli. He was doing the sound. It was great. So we got great sound again.
so bad. Yeah.
He's actually before we go on, like the band that I record, like my team that I was leading for the All Ireland Metal Project, we're staying together as a band now.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, and Alan is playing bass on it, so
Oh, very good. That's great to hear. Like, but
yeah,
I've been hearing rumors and whispers that there's going to be a lot of bands that are going to start once this drops. They're going to start making things official. You know.
yeah. I know there's several bands already because I'd be privy to a lot of the stuff that's going on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people are extremely happy with how things have gone and how they're able to record remotely and
Mm-hmm.
send, and it's all worked extremely well for the most part. And I mean, I think we're up to 14 submissions now with songs,
Jesus.
and there's more to come. Like, I mean, I know two of my tracks are in there now, and like there's one more.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that one's going to be finished because Shannon is doing that. Shannon, who's one of the other organizers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to have that one done. I don't even know how many other ones that we're going to get. There could be 5 more. There could be 12 more for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean we as a group, the people who are organizing it, because like there's people are at different stages now.
Mm-hmm.
of completion, you know, not at like they're at a stage where we're like, well, is this gonna come up? And then like you just get another track into the fold, and you're like, yeah, there we go, it's popping up. Because we thought, well, Dara was afraid that it wasn't gonna happen,
For
you
obvious
know.
reasons.
Yeah, and then like he was talking to me one night. He was like there's what 3 tracks on it. I said, well, there's an EP. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I always look at it like that. He said, well, like, what about? And I goes, just chill and relax. Then the next day there was 9 tracks, 10 tracks. You know what I mean? So it's just a case of getting people motivated to finish. You know, and I think he gave everyone a month extension on. I mean, if you don't get your track finished by then,
That's
that you
it.
don't deserve to be on it. Like in fairness.
Well, that's fair enough. Like, you gave another 4 weeks.
Yeah. So.
And the way things are going now with the whole vaccine program and all the rest, like herd immunity, between the numbers are always so high these days again. I think realistically there could be gigs back again now this year. Maybe not the big ones, but I think smaller ones are in the realms of possibility.
I'd love that. It'd be awesome. You know, even not even if I was playing, just to go out again and practice what I preach. Like I say, and go. Like I mean, I'd say like yeah, I would have went to local gigs, not all the time. I'll be honest now, but like when I started DJing in Fibbers a few years back, then I started going to gigs again, and just going to local gigs just to see what was going on. And I started going to local gigs when we started playing the Metal to the Masses, because I was like, well, actually, there's a great scene up here. So, I mean, one of the best bands I think I've seen in this country was Snowblind.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
Oh my god! And they're not only are they lovely lads, but they're all top musicians. You know, and they just play because they love playing. They love playing. You know, but
And they
like when
brought
you've
out
got
something
that,
recently as well.
yeah. Well, they brought out like a live kind of a footage of a new track. It's pretty awesome. I know they're working on stuff, but there you go. I know stuff, but I'm not saying something.
You can't say anything, but yeah, that Metal to the Masses thing, I know it's been a bit of help for yourself, but Jesus, man, it's a great thing for this country to have. If you're a young Irish band now coming up and you're thinking, where's my opportunity going to come from?
Yeah.
You're looking at the Metal to the Masses, and you're like, and people like I've said things about Metal to the Masses in the past, like, but it wasn't a negative. But I found that over time, it's become more and more about your ability. Like, once upon a time, if you played the old original Metal to the Masses, the chances are, if you brought the biggest crowd, you were going to get through.
Yeah.
But now you've got the likes of Organ Blender made it to the final at the first attempt, and they were like fucking rabbits in the headlights apparently on the first gig. But this, like, they said, right, there's something here, and they nearly got to Bloodstock at the first time, like.
Yeah.
That's a big thing to be able to have it on your band.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, there's friendships forged through all those kind of shows. You know, like I mean, ourselves and 10 Ton Slug were thick as thieves. You know, we were like, running buddies. We played in the UK together and played the Crowbar gig and the COC gigs, and and that was all through Bloodstock, through Metal to the Masses, and I've even became good friends with Jay from Creep in general through Metal to the Masses, and it's just a positive thing, I feel.
Yeah, it's going to be great to have it back next year, and you never know, like, it's even a possibility of one of the bands from the All Ireland Metal Project could maybe come along and fucking just take everyone on the hop and maybe get there. It's
wouldn't that be some
never
story?
Rule it out, like.
Yeah, would be some story.
Wouldn't it be like me one night put up a fucking post on my Burn Metal page when I had a few drinks after me, all celebrating a Leeds United game, and next thing this band is fucking playing Bloodstock. You're like, well, that's everything can start somewhere, I suppose. But Jesus, man, that would be it'd be a story and a half, like.
Absolutely. Look at what has happened. Look at what has started in motion now, and we're coming now to the fruition part of it now. And I mean, everybody that's involved, and I even include yourself, because like I say, you started the ball rolling.
Mhm.
Everyone deserves a pat on the back, like like people they're doing this because they love it. They're doing it, and as well as that, we're doing it for charity. So
Mhm.
that's always a good thing. But people are doing it because they want to collaborate. They want to bring out new music. They
Mhm.
want to try something different. And now there's several people that are doing stuff way outside their wheelhouse on this project, which is gonna like when you see some of the pairings, you're like, wow, you know. So so not only is it getting completed, but it's gonna be something different
Mhm.
as well. I mean, Necroterra is a fucking lethal song, you know. That's Connor Jordan. He's a riff machine that I've only been really aware of since all this. I'm like, what the hell, you know, And then there's another guy, which again I don't want to say too much about because it may or may not get finished.
Mhm.
But myself and a few other lads, he put it up on the thing, seeing if anyone wanted to do it since there was an extension. We're getting a few more tracks done. I was like, yeah, I'll try that. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm like, will I even be able to write to this? Because it's out of my wheelhouse,
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens. Like,
Yeah, well, sure. Look at it. Even a track has been dropped already with Johnny from Skimitar. Fucking Cormac from Black Metal Project. Jesus,
oh,
fuck.
yeah, I'm just my brain is fried at the minute.
Yeah. I'm a bit. I was saying to you before we came on, man. I was a bit fucking mithered after last night. Football didn't come home in the end anyway, so that's the
Oh,
main.
went to Rome.
No, it was. We were like the fucking abuse, man. That young lad got on. It's disgusting, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's no
19
need for it.
years old, like playing for his country, had the balls to step up in front of the world and Donnarumma in front of you, like
That's imposing.
that. You're like, fucking hell, man. It's fucked up, man.
But that's something. That's why, and I think I said this to you in the build up. That's why people don't support the English football team. Is because of the shit that surrounds them, the shit that follows them everywhere they go,
Mm-hmm.
and that shit being their fans and their media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like as I said, we all support English teams.
Oh yeah.
So you would think naturally, well, if Ireland aren't playing, you'd support the English team because
Mm.
a lot of your players are on the team or whatever. No, people won't do it because of, as I said, the negativity that comes with that team,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not the players' fault,
No,
So
they've all behaved immaculately, and Gareth
yeah,
Southgate has always been great throughout it. And
isn't he is a real what would you say, dark horse, isn't he? No one would have ever really thought of him as a world class manager now, we'll say, because he is essentially.
mm-hmm.
He's gotten them to the semi final of the World Cup and now this final of this.
Yeah, and then you've got
Yes.
people say they're calling for him to be sacked today. Like you're like, come
Why?
on,
Well,
like
they were
if
talking about giving him a knighthood if they won.
yeah, like anyone going into that tournament, we'll move away from football now is a different thing altogether. But you're going to say France and Italy are probably going to be the ones going to win it. You're never going to think. I picked Italy for the. I did say England would get to the semi-finals for definite in this tournament. I've been prediction beforehand.
Mm.
I expected France to walk it, but they just didn't show up. But
No, and everyone expects Belgium to do well, and I never really, they never impress me anytime I see them. And you hear so much about them, and you're like, then when they actually meant to show up, they don't. So
well, Eden Hazard isn't the player he was now.
no,
You
he's
got the
got his
best years out of him.
yeah, he got his little move to Real Madrid, and we're happy for him. So you can stay there now. See?
We got the best out of you and we dumped you to Real, and now Real are crying out like, "Oh, we've got no money, help!"
Yeah, we'll take him back off for 20 million.
Yeah, let us start the Super League so we can get ourselves out of all the debt we put
Yeah.
ourselves in.
Oh Jesus, that was some fiasco, wasn't it?
Well, with Barcelona, man, nearly going and trouble of going bankrupt, man, you can kind of understand why they done it, really, can't you? Like,
Still, it was a bit of a.
oh
I'm just
yeah,
glad
yeah,
that, I'm just glad that we washed our hands of it, took our punishment, and it's a,
Yeah, but you'll be all right. You just won a Champions League final, man. Like worst days and worst days, and your new manager Tuchel is very good as well. But if you get Erling Haaland in, man, I think you've got a great chance of winning that next year. Like,
Yeah, I mean, look at Werner. Like when you think about it, yeah, in terms of a goal scoring season, he hasn't been good. But I liken his first season to like what Fernando Torres was like when he came to us. He worked tirelessly off the ball, created chances. Like Werner runs and runs and runs into offside positions a little bit too much for my liking now. But he still works hard. He's a hard worker. He's a hard grafter, and I like that in a player. So yeah, if we can get an actual out and out goal scorer, we'd be well up there.
And I think you'd have a great chance. You might never know, Meow. We got a point out here this season, so
I know. Jesus, we're kicking the hell out of us, I swear. Jesus.
Oh, it's been a fucking mad season to watch. Like,
Yeah.
I seen a graph of sprints in the Premier League for the whole season, and it was like everyone was kind of all like around here, and I was like, where the fuck is Leeds? And then you see everyone Leeds is like up there. Like, what the hell? Like, lads are like rabbits. They've literally ran. But everyone fell in love with them. Once upon a time, everyone hated Leeds, dirty Leeds, and now we're just this fucking.
In fairness, they played. I wouldn't say good football, but they played proper football. Like it's and I can understand what Bielsa's trying to do, but I mean, if they get, like you say, if they get one or two good players, we're talking about, Europa League maybe.
That's possible.
Yeah,
we essentially that team most of the season was the team that came up from the Championship.
So that's good going.
Because we signed 2 players in defence and got fucking ruled out for months between them. We started the season off with a 20-year-old in goal, and he's only improved all the time in Meslier. And then Bamford couldn't hit a cow's arse with a fucking banjo in the Championship and came up and got 17 goals. You're like, what the fuck is going on here?
one of our old boys, by the way.
Exactly. Look at you. Sure, anyways, we'll finish it off on that now anyway, and we'll... Absolutely. Best of luck with the whole All Ireland metal thing anyway, and I'll keep pushing it on the Burnham metal end anyway, and it's great to see, and hopefully all these more projects will come out of it and everything will just go according to plan.
And look, I just want to say thanks to you for supporting 2000 Wall ever since you started up Burnham Metal Ireland. So keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's always appreciated by the bands. Don't ever forget that. We appreciate it, and we don't forget it. And that's one thing I want you to always remember. We don't forget it.
No bother, man. It's nice to be a part of something bigger than I am. I'm not a religious man, and I'm too fucking old now to find God. So this is my church.
Absolutely. Well, let's go worship at your church, brother.
Exactly. Cheers for coming on, man. Thanks very much.
Anytime, dude.
Nice.
Adios.